timid. Look, wait. I got people trying to wish and pray that I'ma fall about it. All about it till we spoke in person. Don't wanna talk about it now, huh? Oh, you sound tough. Toying with them, don't get wound up. How you wound up? Another number in the round up. Put the town up. I built this thing up from the ground up. And if I bounce up, I get my crown stuck. Green light go, got the east side flow. I'm a giant in the space like FIFA4. All the kids sing along like EIO. Every time when they see my show, thinking that it happened overnight. Yeah, didn't. In it for the long haul flight. Committed.
Hi guys, great to be back. Yeah, it's been a while. I think we last left it at where I did my hours of cross training. I remember I was meant to do 140 hours of cross training. Basically, it's more of like a cross exposure into a different department that I needed to kind of get the on-the-job training to be able to be absorbed into it in a position that was fit for, with the expertise that I had. So I did venture into, front of house, but again, this was more back of house, but again, it was part of front office, just in general. But it was an telephone operator opportunity where we were handling phones and it's kind of like switchboard, as many may refer to it as. So basically what happened is that after this 160 hours, I didn't really feel the need to really change, because again, my first experience in hospitality was really straining. Was really exhausting. At some point I felt like this was not what I was fit for, and there were times that I felt like giving up on it. But again, I kept recalling and thinking of the reason of getting this far was not to lose it that soon. So I did pull up, did this 160 hours. The opportunity came in too soon as well. I was granted the opportunity to move as a telephone operator. It was great. One of the best parts of this that I recall was actually now I could fit in a suit, being part of front office as much as I was back of house, handling telephones and all that. Emails and, kind of directing here and there, receiving inquiries and kind of directing them to the respective departments that needed to action them further. But it was great, you're kind of a fast point of contact for the clients that end up being your regulars at the hotel. They kind of interact with you fast because they kind of pick up a call, and you're the first people that kind of speak to them. With the first that receives those inquiries on emails, and we kind of direct them to either the reservations for the restaurants, or be it for the rooms, or to respective departments, be it finance, housekeeping and whatnot. So it was a great experience. I remember there were days that we had to do longer hours, because again, depending on the hotel operations, there were days that the hotel was full. I remember, besides doing this telephone operations, we were also doing something we call service run, where we could receive inquiries from guests, and we had to pick up this stuff that they needed actually from different levels of the floors I was staying on, where they had pantries on, and we had to deliver them as service runs. So there were days that we allocated to either handle calls or do the service runs. But it was nice. It was great. There were a lot of learnings to do. I did build up some sort of confidence that I didn't have actually professionally, I would say as well. Started being more keen on how I say things, how I wrote emails. Kind of the professionalism kind of started kicking in well. It also helped me know how to express myself well as well, because again, as much as you don't get to see who you're speaking to, but the way you express yourself, it kind of carried you in a different way. There was some sort of professionalism, and obviously we had audits that used to come often, and we used to have trainings, interdepartmental trainings between us, basically, that we used to use a lot to kind of improve our skill sets, and to kind of give you that confidence that we really needed to, to really perform and to set us ahead of what we were meant to really execute there. So that was a great experience. I remember I did that for months. At some point, I had that confidence, knew what I needed to do, what logins we needed to do. I was really set for it, and I started getting the feeling of this is now enough of this. But again, there were also shifts here and there. I remember overnights were one of the best because you had those quiet times when it slows down and you had more reports to do and a lot of logins to do, time to also interact with the other departments are also working overnight, then it would slow down. And then I started driving interest into actually moving into the front of house. So I remember the days that I could actually, still as an operator, I could go down to the reception, kind of look at how things were handled. And I was really, that really drove me into it. I had so much interest in shifting to that. But again, just as it happened in a fast change, I needed to kind of sign in after a year, of course, working as an operator to venture into front of house. Then again, the cross-training thing, interest came in, went and signed up for it. It was received very well, I must say, because again, they already knew you great at what you're doing, and I already had the hints of, if you'd cross-train in front office, you would be a good fit there. And again, it was something I was also very much interested in. Time to time, whenever I used to work overnight, I could always go down to the front office, liked how they interacted with guests checking in there, guests just stopping by the reception to just have a chit chat with them, inquiries where they didn't want to make calls, they just wanted to go down and speak to someone, you addressing them by name, the friendship with the clients were there. So it was really something interesting to learn. And then that time came, I had my fair feet of training in there. But this is the funny thing, again, as I was meant to do 140 hours, I remember I only did fairly about 30 hours or so, 35 hours, and then I had to break and go for an annual leave. And then when I returned back from an annual leave, I had a great opportunity. I was granted an internal transfer to front office. That was again another mind-blowing opportunity, which was great. But again, I was not ready to, work as a receptionist or as a guest service agent at the time, because I only had very few hours of cross training into it. But the interest, the system skills, I kind of had them, but not practically using it because I was not at the front of house. So I was kind of shadowing a lot of the ones that had been there before me, or were confident or were already at front of house. So kind of learned while at it. So it was a great opportunity, and I can say this is one of the changes that I had. I consider that as a third change. This is one of the changes that I had that was really good for me, and that I really felt that I should never have given up, because of course obviously there were colleagues that we had started with. I remember back then when we were still in the preparing phase that gave up on what they had started on, or what they had initially signed to do. But it's good to see these changes coming along, and especially during the preparing phases, the priorities you get getting into this opportunities to get a cross exposure in other departments. You get that priority because again, you've been there from the initial phase, seeing the changes. You can have the great skills that you really need, that you build up, and you get to learn from the ones that are there, that are obviously experienced, have been there, done that for years. So it's a great opportunity. So my cross training beat moved in there right after vacation. I was not even fit and ready for it, but there were hiccups here and there that we'll get to highlight at some point. not having the full skills, systems. You have people yelling and screaming right on your face. But these were moments that you learn from them. You take them as a learning opportunity. Then they kind of elevate you to what you become, at a later stage. So did about 3 months, I remember, and then I felt like I was ready for it. Then I was even asked to if I was interested in doing rooms controlling, basically the one that kind of allocates the rooms for the day, follows up with the departures of the day, coordinates with the housekeeping, with other departments, be it food and beverage, for the amenities that are in place in the rooms, the special occasions for the guests that were coming for birthdays, anniversaries, and whatnot. Facilitating all that as a rooms controller, allocating room for groups if there were any, or VIPs, or special requests, guests with special needs. So you were the one that facilitates all that, and also kind of in advance kind of blocks rooms, kind of coordinates and facilitates the inventory of the hotel. So that was a great opportunity as well. But again, that didn't need to cross-train. It just needed to be guided on how it's done. It took me about 2 weeks to kind of understand the whole thing, and then did that for another, I remember 3.5, 4 months. And then I had my first promotion opportunity, I remember, to be a team leader, which was another great opportunity, being a team leader at the front office. And then this is where I would say I faced most of the challenges at the front of house, because again, in a junior position of supervisory role, you had clients complain to deal with, you had operation challenges to handle, you had shifts to kind of coordinate for the team, you had duty managers to report to, to kind of run the operation. The duty managers obviously had the role as managers in operation, but again, the shift leaders, I would say, are the ones that really runs the show. So that was a great opportunity for me. And then coordinating between, the entire front of house, from the bell service to the door service to the concierge service to the drivers to the taxis to coordinating traffic in and out of the hotel driveway. So it was a great opportunity and a great exposure that I remember I had at the time. And then between front office, I remember moving between the interdepartments within the front office as a team leader at the time, at the concierge, managing the operations there as well, moving up to the executive lounge, which is also kind of different level of more of a personalized operation there, with a bit of food and beverage operations there, considering that it's a private lounge for members or guests that actually were entitled to it, with depending on what tier of rooms they had booked, or if it's the high categories, the suites, that kind of allocates that as an additional value add to what they've reserved. So that was a great experience. And then I would say one of the challenging things that came also, but again came with confidence of the experience that you've gathered over time, because again, that was I would estimate it to about 2.5, almost 3 years being a team leader. I then had my first junior position as an assistant executive lounge manager. So this was great because this came with like really good benefits, I would say. Obviously you kind of have the management benefits, but as a junior manager, that was really good. You kind of have different dress code, you have you dress differently from the staff, from the junior staffs, I would say. It was great because again, now you needed to take decisions, define decisions different from the ones I used to take as a team leader or as just a junior staff. I needed to attend management meetings. I needed to be part of this kind of budget meetings, I would say, kind of budgeting for the department, looking into the inventories, managing the inventories, I would say, looking into acquisitions that we needed to run the department. There were other managers, of course, in the other sub-departments within the department of the front office that we were coordinating with. But I was more into the executive lounge, as that's where I did pretty much more of my team leader and the junior position in junior management as an assistant executive lounge manager at the time. But again, at the same time, there was again the role of covering the other managers at the front office, obviously on the days off or on leave, or whenever there was need to, obviously it was more of kind of a rotational role, but again in management which was great. Then did that for again another year, close to a year actually, and then I had the opportunity to actually now manage the executive lounge as an executive lounge manager, because at the time I remember the one that we were managing with was a lady actually, moved to a senior role, but again in a different company. So I took over her role as a manager at the time. So again, obviously I knew exactly what she was doing, and so it was kind of a very easy transition for me, I would say. But again, comes with more challenges. The time management may seem very attractive to many, but I think it comes with a lot of responsibilities that, considering that I'd not been in that before, or your first time getting into management, the expectations are normally more actually from senior management, of course, and I think more from even junior staff or more line staff that look up to you or that report directly to you. And also there's the overall performance of a segment or a division that you're in charge of. So, and I think considering that most of the junior staff that I was working with were people that we had moved kind of in phases together, made it quite easy, I would say. And at the same time, there needed to be that change factor of you were no longer a team leader or a supervisor, you're into management, you're managing a segment or a department. So the expectations were looked at differently, but I would say I did really get a lot of support from my immediate line staff that I was working with, and there were, I would say, kind of mutual expectations from my end and from their end as well. We had a very kind of open dialogue between me and my team, which really made it quite easy, and obviously the management thing was more of a role for me, but in terms of operation, it was more of like someone that was being looked up to. I would frame it that way, because I did really have a very up and close relationship with my team, and that was really good. And even better was with the clients that we were dealing with over time, because we had a very good base of repeat clients that were there every week, every other 2 weeks, every other month, every other season that came. You would see the same kind of faces. You knew them. They would contact us directly, or the team, and we would obviously connect prior to them coming, while they're there, and even post them staying with us. So really kind of made it great. The only challenges that I would reckon were in terms of revenues, I would say, and when there were expectations that you needed to kind of generate more revenue as normal, I mean, there's always the tendency of, if you made a certain n number of revenue, it's always expected that either get doubled up or increased by a certain percentage. So this came with some sort of challenges where you had to debate between, not service, I would say, but kind of looking at how we could upsell to the same kind of clients or even new, to elevate or touch base on that level of revenues that were expected. But again, that was not solely our responsibility or my responsibility as a manager managing this segment, There was also sales involved in that. There was also senior management in terms of marketing that went out in place. So it was a collective kind of responsibility, but obviously translated well with the incentives that the team used to get, that the asset management used to get by achieving the budgets that were put for us or that was set for us to achieve. So that made it quite, I would say, not easy, but eased the process of achieving those numbers. So I would reckon that was something that I was proud of in management. So another thing was there was a need to actually change from what I was doing at the time, which was obviously I've been in front office, been through the sub departments within the segment of front office. So I started kind of having this interest to also shift to something different. And then the thought of shifting to sales and marketing kind of started clicking in, but I was a little bit hesitant, because if I decided to move to sales and marketing at the time, being already into management, I wouldn't be expected to transition as a manager or in management in front office. So the only opportunities were more of a junior position in sales, because again, that's a completely different role, completely different experience. The role was entirely completely different. So I did give it a thought. I remember it took me over 6 months to to kind of think of whether it was something that was fitting. So I kind of held on to management for fairly about over a year and a half. I reckon that a year and a half, yes. While still thinking if I needed to really have the change, or still continue the line of front office management that I was already in. But guess what? I did take that change. Let's speak about that on the next video. Speak to you soon.